Good morning. Hope you're having a great week. It is Wednesday, July 6th, 8:55 a.m. Central Daylight Time, local time here in Oklahoma City. I am at home, if you cannot tell, in my little home office. Got a little bit of news from Landstar today. They finally, I don't know if it was released today. No, it was released yesterday, July 5th. Landstar finally sent out a memo with their thoughts on AB5. They also released a new analytics pane and a new load board. Now, the load board is not active, it's just a preview. You can look at real loads and stuff on it, so you can use the load board, but it's not fully functional yet. It's just in a preview state. So they say to go ahead and use the normal load board for now. But let's take a look at all this stuff. First, let's look at Landstar's memo that they sent out. Now, let's talk about AB5 real quick. AB5 is not in effect yet. I think it goes into effect tomorrow. It was Thursday that the Supreme Court rejected to hear the case. And from what I read, the AB5 goes into effect 7 days after last Thursday, which would be this Thursday. Tomorrow is when AB5 goes into effect. There is a tremendous amount of confusion about AB5. Let me just highlight some of the confusion on AB5. Let me go back to my fat head, and we'll come back to the memo in a minute. AB5 was intended to affect solo owner-operator businesses. But in the wording of AB5, they did not restrict it to owner-operators. It is not restricted to owner-operators. There's specifically a clause in AB5 that states if you're under like a C Corp, if you're under any kind of business structure whatsoever, an LLC, an S Corp, a C Corp, doesn't matter. If whatever your business structure is, it says that AB5, the ABC test, is between the two businesses. So, let's say you're Walmart doing business with Crete, and you sign a lease contract with Crete. You cannot pay them on a 1099 anymore because you're both working in the same business. You're both operating, you're both transportation companies, basically. Walmart is a transportation company, Crete is a transportation company. So you can no longer, Walmart can't pay Crete on a 1099. I don't know if Walmart does pay Crete on a 1099. I know that Crete operates a lot of Walmart distribution centers all across the country, California, I think, included. But there's nothing in AB5 that limits it to like sole proprietors or owner operator businesses. So it affects all business relationships. The law is incredibly broad, it's incredibly vague, and it's like people just don't know what the hell's going on with AB5. What I suspect is probably going to happen is a lot of companies are just going to continue operating as normal. And if that's the case, AB5 may potentially not have as big of an impact as what I thought it might have. But if all of the companies actually abide by the law and what it states, it's going to shut down trucking in California. And it does not just affect trucking, it affects all business to business relationships. So, like, I don't even want to try to give examples of every type of business to business relationship. But I dropped off a couple of questions to Sage News Live and asked him to ask, whenever he gets a lawyer on, ask him, like, how this affects the business relationship between Crete and Walmart, as an example, or how it affects franchisee relationships. How is money transferred between McDonald's and a McDonald's restaurant? Because almost all McDonald's restaurants are owned, they're small business owners. So how is that money exchanged? Is it exchanged on a 1099? A 1099 is just simply a method of you know. Well, let me. I'm trying to think of how to word this. It's just simply a method of paying somebody. It's a method of tracking expenses. So if you pay somebody on a 1099, then you're just simply like, I can use a 1099 for a transaction on my lawnmower guy, the guy who mows my lawn. I can fill out a 1099 for him, and I can pay him off of a 1099 if I wanted to. And that's just me reporting to the IRS that I paid this person so and so dollars, and I'm writing it out. I'm expensing it out on my business. I'm writing it off on my taxes, and I'm reporting to the IRS that I paid this person. So now they're obligated to report this income to the IRS. And since it's paid on a 1099, I'm telling the IRS I am not responsible for this person paying taxes. I'm not taking any taxes out. I'm not dealing with it. It's their responsibility to do whatever it is that they need to do with this money. So a lot of people have tunnel vision on what an independent contractor is, what a 1099 is. Like, any business of any size can be an independent contractor. This law is incredibly vague and wide sweeping. And the last thing I'll say before we look at this memo is that up to this point, everybody has thought that it only affects California residents. But the California Truckers Association, a representative of theirs, told the Asian Mai in an interview that it affects anyone doing business in California. Once you cross the state line physically, you don't even have to physically cross the state line. If you are doing business in California, like let's say you're a remote technician, you are logging into your computer and Google is paying you to fix a server in California. You are doing business across state lines. And as soon as you start doing business in California, you fall under California law. And you have to pass their ABC test. Now, that's what the California Truckers Association is saying. And they just started saying that after the Supreme Court rejected the case. I had never heard them say anything about that up to that point. So just within the last week, now the California Truckers Association is saying that it affects everybody doing business in California, not just California residents. I don't know how true that is, but we're going to go look at Landstar's memo, and I'm going to tell you right now, Landstar doesn't believe that that is true. I don't know if Landstar has had their lawyers review this again, or if they're just going off of what their lawyers reviewed a couple years ago when AB5 first went into effect. But here's Landstar's memo. And I apologize for the background noise. I have the air conditioner on. It's 100 damn degrees outside, and if I turn that air conditioner off for 10 minutes, it'll get up to 80 degrees in here. So where is this? There we go. So this is Landstar's memo that they finally sent out yesterday. And basically what it says is that it only affects California residents. Landstar has already banned drivers from leasing on that have California driver's licenses. If you were a Landstar BCO or whatever they call it, if you were leased to Landstar and you had a California driver's license, then Landstar was either going to terminate your lease or you had to go get a different state driver's license. So Landstar drivers and agents are under the same thing. So I'm sure Landstar agents had to do the same thing. They had to go get residency in another state because the agents are independent contractors just like the drivers are. They use Landstar's authority to broker loads, just like the drivers use Landstar's authority to move loads. So Landstar is saying that nothing has changed. They're saying that it is still perfectly fine for us to do business in California. Let's go through here. Let me read part of this. To be clear, now this is I'm reading directly from the memo. Here we go. To be clear, AB5 is intended to apply to people working in California and not to people who live and work outside California. That is, if you are among the vast majority of BCOs or operators qualified with a Landstar motor carrier who live outside California and primarily operate your business outside of California, the California law should not apply to you or your relationship with Landstar. This is the case even if you occasionally operate your truck within California, whether unloaded or loaded, or periodically pick up or deliver freight in California. Now here's the section where Landstar touches on the ambiguity, the vagueness, and the broadness of this law. Due to the uncertain legal environment created by this law, Landstar will be reaching out to each BCO and operator who has a California-based address on file with Landstar to discuss some options relating to the impact of this law on their business relationship with a Landstar motor carrier. So, Landstar is basically saying that we can still go in and out of California. It only affects California residents. So, I don't know how true that is. It's this law is something that's going to be fought in the courts for years. The ramifications of this law are probably may not be felt right away. We're going to be getting a lot more clarification on this law over time. I think the law is more impactful than what people realize because it affects all business-to-business relationships. And I think that over time, that's something that's going to be decided in the courts, and people are going to have some epiphanies about how big this law is. So let's take a look at a couple other things. Landstar has a new load board, and they have a new analytics page. All right, this is Landstar's new analytics page where it shows you how much money you made this year, compares it to last year. You can look at your month-to-month revenue and stuff like that. Let's look at key metrics. Settled amount. Okay, this is just basically telling you how they're coming up with the information. What is categorical? Top agencies. These are the agencies that I haul loads with. I've only hauled 12 loads this year, and I hauled 2 with CGI and 2 with LAN. I'm trying to remember LAN. Oh, LAN is the Home Depot. They're the ones I haul those Seattle to Montana loads for. Let's go back to the overview. So the overview, my 1099 revenue so far this year, my gross revenue has been $51,000, or they're rounding up. It's $50,657.56. My total billed miles, these are not my actual miles, these are my billed miles, are 16,361. That's it. I have a spreadsheet where I track all my data, and I have a lot more information than what this analytics page has. So, I mean, this is great for people who don't track their own information. They don't have very good bookkeeping, and they can come in here and look and see what's going on. But the analytics that I do are much better than this. I have access to a lot more information. So now let's go look at the load board. All right, here's the new load board, and up at the top it has You know, some of the same information from the analytics page. My total revenue for the year, the total number of shipments that I've done this year, 12. The total mileage I've done, 16.4 thousand. And then it has recommended load section. This is based off where they think I'm at. The last load I delivered was in Bozeman, Montana, but then I deadheaded to Oklahoma City. I'm in Oklahoma City, and they're looking for loads for me in Bozeman, Montana. So this is an imperfect system. I could go in and update my location. I forget where it's at that I can update it, but I don't want to do that because if you're in a hot market, then the agents will badger you. You'll get like I can't find a way to get the agents to stop fucking calling me. I have contacted Landstar corporate so many times to try to get them to, you know, unlist my number or something to get the damn agents to stop bugging me. And it just doesn't work. The agents will, like, they'll just dig and dig and dig until they find your phone number. Your phone number is always listed somewhere. And I have a huge do not call disclaimer on my account, supposedly. That's what Landstar corporate told me, and I still have agents ignore that and call me. So with me being listed in Bozeman, Montana, a really dead freight market, that's good for me because fewer agents are going to contact me. I don't want to be contacted by agents ever. If I change my location to Oklahoma City, I'm going to start getting badgered by agents because Oklahoma City is a bad market, but it's surrounded by a lot of good markets. So I'll start getting harassed by agents if I change my location to Oklahoma City. You know, some people are probably sitting there thinking, why wouldn't you want agents calling you? Agents don't have to make cold call sales if it's a good load. If an agent's calling you trying to move a load, it's because that load cannot be moved on the load board. Nobody is taking the load. I have never had an agent contact me with a decent load. It's always the trash on the board that nobody wants. That's the reason they're cold calling people to try to move it, is because it's a crap load. So I wish there was a way to get agents to stop contacting me about loads. You know, I have access to the load board. If the load was worth a damn, I would haul the load. You know, is it on the fucking load board? Like when agents call me, I get really pissed off with them because I know that like they've bypassed a screen that says do not call this person, and they've gone and tracked down my phone number through some method. So I'm not polite to them at all when they call me, and I'm quite rude to them, to be honest, because it pisses me off. I have to put my phone on do not disturb because of them. But anyway, this is the new load board. I don't like it. For one, it's just way too damn big. They put everything in like I'm blind font. Like these are like the size of the everything is so enormous, and then it's like quadruple spaced on everything. So you have to scroll several pages to get information. That's a pain in the ass. So everything is just way too damn big. They can compress everything down and still keep it legible. I don't know why in the hell, who the blind person is that's quality testing this thing. Whoever's giving them feedback on this is blind. You know, if they want to add an option in to like, hey, I can't fucking see, you know, and you can click a button and it makes everything really big, by all means, add that in. But don't make this the only view for everybody. Good Lord, man. This is just ridiculous. I like to be able to see everything without scrolling 15 fucking pages. Alright, so let's go look at some load searches. Oklahoma City alert. Let's not do the alert. Let's do the Oklahoma City strict. This is just my normal search that I do when I'm at the house. This is my alerts. Like I get, my phone buzzes at me every time a load pops up on this. So there's only a couple loads in this. Let's do the Oklahoma City Strict and see what we got here. This is like my normal basic search that I use just to look and see what loads are around the house. So we got CGI, Oklahoma, this Dallas to Seattle, Grand Prairie, Texas to Kent, Washington, $4.86 a mile. When I hauled it, it was $4.85 a mile, so the fuel surcharge went up by a penny a mile. It's $9,971.20. You know what I wish they would add in here? And they might have it. I haven't like, I just started making the video. Like I haven't had time to look through the new load board. I wish they would add a feature where you can like not have certain agencies show up, because there's certain agencies I don't want to do business with, and I would prefer that their loads not show up. All right, here's one of the new features. Multi. So Landstar reposts, a lot of the Landstar agents will repost loads from the spot market. So you'll have a load on the spot market, and then you'll have like 20 Landstar agents repost that load on the Landstar's load board. So you have to scroll through 20 listings of one damn load, and it goes back to what I was complaining about a second ago on the huge fonts, you know, the large everything that they're using. You just have to scroll several pages to get to useful information. I don't like having to scroll several pages. So they added a new feature where if an agent has more than one load, you know, it's not all just loads relisted from the spot market. It's also, let's say an agent has 15 loads that are picking up from one place, and they all have the same pickup time and delivery time, and everything about the loads are identical, but they actually do have 15 of them. Well, instead of them showing up 15 times, they'll only show up once. So we have this new multi. Now it's, let's see here. Okay, I was about to say it's supposed to show how many of them there are, and I'm not seeing it, but over here, oh, this is the agents. So it's 2 different agents that have this load listed. 4 different agents. 6, 2, 2. Is there a multi that only has a single agent? Or are they using the agent field? I think that they're just using the agent field. Let's look into this. Nope, these are 2 different agencies and 2 different loads. Let's look at another one. Yeah, these are all for the exact same agency, but it's 4 different loads. So they're just using the agency section to list the total number of loads. So it doesn't necessarily mean that there's multiple agencies. It just means that there's it's just telling you how many loads there are. It seems like a half-assed way to do it. I think it would be better if over here where it says multi, they would just put a little number right there. And this over here in the agents would actually tell you how many agents are on that load. Because if you saw just CGI listed there for this Edwardsville to Kent, then you would know it's 4 of the exact same load listed by the same agent. It's contract freight. Whereas if you see over here, you know, 15 different agents have the load listed, then you know it's some spot market bullshit that a whole bunch of agents are reposting. But in general, this is probably the best feature of the new load board, is having multiple loads compressed into a single listing. It even gives you the price range of the loads. So this one right here, that is 2 different agents, it's telling you the range and the rate per mile and the overall revenue the agents are listing the load at. I'm not seeing anything new. Now, one of the things that I really, really, really like is the age is listed. Like used to in the old load board, you had to dig down into the load to look at the age of the load. And it didn't give you the age, it told you the time it was posted. So you had to like figure that out. Well, how long ago was that? This is a really basic feature that should have been in the load board for a long time, and it's finally there. It exists on the app, the Landstar app on your phone. You can sort by age, but on the web browser load board app, this is a new feature to be able to look and see how old the load is. So we can sit here and sort by age. And ooh, it looks like, okay, so there were multiple times that it was posted, but it is still sorting the multi-loads by age. So we have a load. Oh, and this is refreshing on the fly. The old load board, if I were to sort it, if I were to change the sorting method, it would use the results that were pulled whenever I originally pulled it. You can see right here, we've been looking at this page for more than a minute, and it just pulled in a new load that was posted less than a minute ago. Dallas, Texas to North Chesterfield, Virginia. So I think this load board is a step in the right direction, but I can already see issues with it. What is this search box? This is completely new. Let's see what we can search by. Let's search 1568. Yes, and it's pulling up it's pulling up loads that are 1,568 miles. Okay, let's see what else. Let's do 179. So it pulled up a load that's 179 miles away. How is it pulling up 179 on this one? This is really annoying how long it takes to drill down into a load. On the old load board, it's instant. I am not seeing 179 anywhere on this page. It took me all the way back to the... Okay, this is a pain in the ass. This is fucked up. So if you drill down into a load, then you have to go back and redo your whole damn search to get back to where you were at. I'm going to have to look around to see if there's some way around that. I don't know where it's getting the 179 from. You cannot open in new page. The way that they have this set up, you can't like right click on it and choose to open in a new page. So this fucking sucks. So if you go down and look at the details of a load, you basically have to go back and restart your whole search all over again. I don't see where in the hell they're getting 179 from. There's nothing 179 on any of this. But the search field is searching a lot of stuff. It's searching stuff I can't even see. Alright, let's try drilling down into a load again. It's taking me like to a completely different page. Let me pause this. Okay, I didn't want to accidentally like show some personal information, but yeah, okay, what it's doing is it is opening a completely new web page whenever you click on a load. So if you don't like the load, you can just click the X and close out of it to get back to where you were at. I don't like that. I don't like it opening up new tabs. I don't know where this is hitting my 179 search results. All right, now we can return to saved search. I would like for them to get rid of some of the spacing on this, so I can see more loads on a page. You know, this goes back to what I was saying a minute ago about the blind person that's doing the quality assurance on this. Whoever's giving them feedback on this is blind. So, you know, give us a little, like, look how big, like, oh, you can't see it. Wow, I didn't know that this thing didn't look at the whole page. You're not seeing part of the bottom of the page. But like the copyright information and the terms of use, the privacy policy and that stuff down there that you can't see, it is in massive, like huge, tall characters. All this spacing, they could reduce all the spacing. Like, there's so much room that they could save here by just compressing things down. They don't even have to reduce the font size on a lot of this stuff. A lot of it is like already like fairly small. You know, a lot of this stuff is good font sizes. The big problem is the massive spacing around everything. They just have a huge, like, just a massive amount of space everywhere that's unused space. They can compress all this down to make it easier to read, easier to look through. But yeah, anyway, that's what's going on with everything. AB5 goes into effect tomorrow, I think. And Landstar said that nothing changes. As far as Landstar is concerned, absolutely nothing changes. Because they already implemented their ban on California residents leasing to Landstar when AB5 was first implemented. So it should have no impact on Landstar. At least with their interpretation of the law. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. It's still not getting any news coverage whatsoever. AB5 is getting no coverage at all in the media, which is bizarre. It is incredibly, it's like really strange. I don't want to get into conspiracy theory type shit, but like this is a major news event, and the major news, the mainstream media is just not covering it. And it's almost like the government is telling them, hey, you know, let's don't cover this. You know, I don't know. This is just really weird. But, you know, new load board, new analytics page with Landstar, and Landstar. I don't want to go. Right here it is. This is the AB5 memo. Posted yesterday. If the video is blurry or fuzzy or not high resolution, it's because it probably hasn't had time to process the HD version. I don't wait to post my videos. I tell them to post as soon as they're finished uploading. So it takes a couple hours after they upload before it finishes processing the HD version. So if it's in low resolution, just you have to come back in a couple hours after it processes the HD version. Once it has the HD version, you should be able to easily read this because I'm uploading this video in 1080 resolution, which should be like, that's the same resolution I'm looking at my screens in. My monitors are in 1080 resolution, so I can easily read it. You should be able to easily read it. But anyway, that's it for this video. Have a good one. Bye.